pelas suas investigações, pelo que o senhor pôde descobrir, como Londres conseguiu os Jogos de 2012 e, se o senhor soube de algo, como o Rio de Janeiro conseguiu os Jogos de 2016?
You know, usually when I answer that kind of question, I've got at least one invisible lawyer sitting on my shoulder, which is very sensible, and I am listening. They're whispering in my ear, don't say this, do say that. I think I'll have one on each shoulder now. Let's deal with London first of all. What interested me with the London bid was the consultants they hired. And it might be worth you looking, because I don't know, you do know, you live here. Go and look and see what consultants were hired by your Olympic bidding team.
Os mesmos.
Because I discovered that the London Olympic bid hired a number of people who were totally dirty. They'd worked for the ISL company. They'd been involved in the suitcasing. Oh, God, there must be thousands of dollars in this bag. It's breaking my arm. Why did the London Olympic bid hire those people? We don't need them to tell us how to build stadia, how to talk about sport. We do quite a lot of sport in England, you know. And then I demanded, and through freedom of information, got hold of the fees these guys were paid. And they were enormous. Millions and millions of British pounds went into those consultants. And from this point onwards, because, you know, they won't ever say, well, I bribed him, and no, I got a bribe as well. It became apparent to some of us investigating the London Olympics that these guys' actual fees were only part of it. And it was reasonable to suspect that most of that money was black bag money. Because in my view, there's still at least half a dozen, you're never too sure, half a dozen IOC members that escaped the purge of 1999 and will look for money. There always was money, there always will be money, in their view. And that they will do shakedowns on the bidders, and sometimes I think the bidders don't fight very hard against the demand for bribes. Now, when it comes to Rio, that is interesting, because I was in Copenhagen for the decision. The IOC, they have a congress. I mean, they talk for 10 days and nobody ever remembers or cares what they talked about, but they ate very well. And what was interesting was that the Rio bid was in effect led by Havelange, because he's part of the IOC, he knows them all, he knows who takes money, you know, better than we investigative journalists, what everybody's taken. Because nobody ever said Havelange was stupid. Nobody ever said that about him. So there he was, wanting to die without being criminally prosecuted in this country, as I think he should be, bringing the games to Rio. So he's a national hero. Not, well, what were you doing all those years ago in the Brazilian Sports Federation? You know, 30 years ago, where did the money go? You know the stories. So he comes back a hero. Now, what interested me was one other man who was in Copenhagen, and he wasn't a sports official, and he wasn't a reporter. He wasn't a TV cameraman. It was a man called Jean-Marie Weber, who for more than 20 years took the suitcases round for ISL. He fixed the payments, and he was one of the defendants in that trial in Zug, Switzerland I talked about earlier. On my website, when I write about him, I call him the bag man, because he carried the bag of money. Because some of the people at FIFA, and we have more work to do on this, got cash, and so the paper trail died. Minutes after that vote that gave the games to Rio, two men shook hands. Havelange with both hands, and Jean-Marie Weber, the bag man. And there's a photograph of them doing it on my website. I didn't take it. A good friend of mine, a German journalist. It's not very good quality because the light wasn't very good. The important thing is, look at their faces, look at their hands. These are two men who have just achieved something. What is the Swiss Jean-Marie Weber doing for Rio? And I think just the very fact, and let's not beat about the bush. Did Havelange take bribes from ISL? So it has been published in Switzerland. So the liquidator says off the record, and we hope to change that soon. Who paid the money? Jean-Marie Weber. So two guys with intimate experience of financial exchanges of a dubious kind are there in Copenhagen, shaking hands after the vote. What do you think?
Na rodada final, houve a disputa entre o Rio de Janeiro, liderado por Avelange, e Madri, por Samaranch. São pesos pesados da história do Comitê Olímpico Internacional. Como o senhor analisou a vitória de um sobre o outro?
I think more money went in from Rio. What I think was so wicked, actually, was the media. You had your own media, but I don't know how much you saw of the foreign media. And I was embarrassed, because Brazil was reduced in the foreign media to a bunch of happy-clappy idiots on a beach in Rio going, oh, we got the Olympic Games. That's not the true Brazilian people. You know, and I know in television, you can always find somebody who'll clap hands for the camera, say, I'm really happy, oh, I'm looking forward to filling the name of the event. And it was portrayed as, well, the IOC really wanted to take it into Latin America. What a lot of garbage. It went with the money. So I don't know where it came from. There's some work to be done in Rio for you. There's a few years digging work. But, yeah, I think my personal opinion is Rio outpaid Madrid.